This video is brought to you by Moonlight Garden Supply for all of your hydroponic, aquaponic, and organic gardening endeavors. Here we are again visiting one of my favorite hydroponic store that is relatively local to me, and is called Moonlight Gardens in the shadows of the Rocky Mountains. We are checking out one of their grow tents that they have here, which is a various succulents, cacti, even one of their gorgeous aloe vera plants that they have displayed here, which looks like it is about to flower, and none of this would be available if they didn't have probably one of the most talked about arguments on when you're dealing with hydroponics and grow systems, artificially speaking, is going to be your light systems. And one of the great things that I love about Moonlight Gardens is they have tried their best to have a full range of lights, everything from your real fancy to your technological, even down to your local shop light DIY system if you just want to set up a tabletop system. And here to oh, and I just stepped on their employee, Murphy. I am sorry, Murphy. I did not mean to step on you. I am so sorry about that, little guy. So here to help us explain about their light system is Murphy and one of the owners, Cody.
Yeah. So yeah, we just try and carry a little bit of everything from fluorescents, you know, the T5s, CFL, compact fluorescents. We've done a lot of the HPS stuff in the past, which now we're seeing a lot of LED come into play with that. We even do the CMH, which is a ceramic metal halide, kind of almost that middle ground between HPS and LED. So yeah, it's been a fun field to get into with lights, and there is a ton of options out there, almost never ending. So yeah, kind of trying to decide what lights we would carry has been, you know, looking at the market, kind of seeing reviews, getting them in our hands, running them for a little bit, seeing how they run. But yeah, we've carried anything from like Lux Lighting, who's associated with the Jungle Boys and Athena and that. Photo Bio, who's out of Hydro Farm. We even just started branding our own little light. So yeah, we've got a few different options in the LED, and then the great thing is the different sizes. So we'll have, you know, some bigger panels that cover, you know, 6x6 area, 7x7, so they say, down to little areas that are just panels that'll cover, you know, a single plant if you want, something like that.
So there is a lot of fancy grids, lots of LEDs that you can adjust down whether you want to do vegetative versus your bloom stage. Can you give us a quick synopsis about that, and why is lighting so important? Like, why do I even care? Why can't I just go grab your shop light from your big box store that's your cool white office light that's going to cost me $2? Like, why does it even matter?
Yeah, the main thing is the spectrum that the light puts out and that quality of light. You know, we're trying to mimic the sun, so we do want certain spectrums to come out of that light and they hit the plant. And you were talking earlier on the veg versus, you know, a bloom, or they call the blue and the red stage, grow and bloom. But it is nice when you can almost do that full spectrum light, and then you're not having to switch back and forth unless you are just doing, you know, microgreens or herbs or something. Then you could just run your blue light the whole time. But yeah, it's just key having those blues and reds, you know, and even UVs in there, and infrareds help a lot. So basically, if we're, you know, buying just a normal shop light out of Lowe's or something, you know, a good $20 just strip or something, that could possibly work, but we would definitely want to check out the bulb that it has in it to make sure that it's a plant-based bulb and it's kicking off a spectrum that is, you know, compatible with plant growth. So that's kind of the main difference that you'll see, though, is a lot of times you'll see these lights that just, they look great and they put out a light, but do they put out the right light is the question.
So why is it so important that you cover those blue and red spectrums?
Just mimicking the sun. If we're not, you know what I mean? That's what makes those plants grow, is that style of light and that quality of light in particular. If you really want it to, you know, succeed successfully and grow quickly, I guess. I mean, it probably could grow under about any light, but if you really want to maximize your growth and get them going, you know, you do have to have the right light above them. And if we're trying to mimic that sun and we're just throwing a shop light that doesn't have, you know, anything in there that the plant's liking, and then what are we doing?
So do you guys only have setups for your fancy commercial LED systems that you can exchange it, or do you also have some things that can help your DIY guy that just wants to try something on his desk or in his kitchen table?
Yeah, so guys can run, just the little 2-foot style light, and that would work great. I even have just plant style ones that if you did want a single plant under, something like that you could run. And then I do have something that the DIYers might like. I imagine a lot of them already are running their T5 kind of fluorescent style bulbs. A lot of people are kind of aware of these. So one cool step up that a lot of people have liked is you can actually switch those bulbs out for a LED bulb that will run in replacement of the T5. So it's that exact same connector on the head, but it just has a row of diodes running down the middle of it. But the exact same connector as your T5. So that's kind of a fun one for people to jump into, just to expand their light and get a little different style light going.
So in dealing with the lights, and you kind of hit on this a little bit already talking about it, is you've got your LEDs, there's some fluorescents, and we've come a long way in light technology from the 60s when everything that you saw were just incandescent, and you had your sodium halides that came along, then you got your ceramics, then you had your fluorescents that became commonplace. Where do you fall on that argument when you're dealing with like your fluorescent T5, T8s versus your LEDs? And what situation might work well if it's not a one-all solution that works?
Yeah, I mean, I love fluorescents for like veggies and starts and things like that. I've had really, really good luck with them. That being said, they do make some great LED options where we're running at a lesser wattage most of the time, so that is something. If I was running a bunch of these lights, I might want to go to LED just for heat or power consumption. So there's a few different reasons that you might jump to LED, and they've really come a long ways in the quality of them as well. So yeah, it's one of those things. A lot of people do want to go LED just to be cost effective on savings and things like that, but I've honestly loved the T5s and always had such good luck with them for herbs and starts and things like that. So I do like either or, kind of a preferencing at that point. These guys are nice though too. You get the waterproofing and things like that in there, so you're not replacing bulbs. So there are definitely some pretty big bonuses jumping to LED.
So when dealing with lights, I know one, even if you're just doing your own little tabletop light like this that you can do for your work, that makes it really easy. By far the number one biggest headache that I personally have and that I work with others is, do I leave that light on 24 hours? Do I have to remember to turn it off? And how do you manage that, being able to save light versus turning it off? Is there automated ways that you could do just to make your life easier?
Yeah, totally. So there's, just a basic timer that we could do that plugs in. We can even show you a few of them over here, but pretty much just need a timer, and then most of those will plug right in. Bunch of different ones, anything from digital to mechanical. I do like the mechanicals just for ease and price-wise. The digitals are nice if we're trying to set more than one cycle a day, but with those lights, we could really run them a couple different ways. If the vegetative state is 18 hours on, 6 off, so we could run them that length, or if we had some light from the day, we could kind of run them a supplemental light to help out that daylight throughout the day. And then when we get to our flower time, we'd be switching those lights from 18/6 to 12 on, 12 off. And that kind of simulates the end of the year coming up on us, and will make those guys want to kick into flower mode.
So when you're dealing with lights, why do I even care to turn the light off? Why can't I just leave it on 24/7? Because, light's good. Plants make their food off of photosynthesis.
Yeah, they say that, and I've heard some people even leaving them on the whole time, but I don't know how true this is. I've heard that after 20 hours that they've kind of photosynthesized all that they can, so even plants need a little bit of rest eventually to kind of take in what they've already photosynthesized and used.
So it's your own sleep cycle, just being able to recuperate.
Yep.
And that is by far one of the more important things. I know one of the more important things too that you have to is photosynthesis is the act of breathing in and breathing out. So during the daytime, you have a lot of that carbon dioxide that it's breathing in, and then most of that oxygen is breathing out. So that way it helps within that REM cycle, if you want to call it that, for the plants. So that way they have that recovery sleep period.
Yep, I like that.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we have all these sweet light systems that you have. I'm lucky enough that I can just walk in through the front door and I can get a light system if I need to replace something. Do you have that ability if someone else wanted to get that for you too, that may not be within driving distance?
Yes, totally. We have our website. It's moonlightgardensupply.com. You could jump on there. All of our light options are on there with what we have in stock, and yeah.
Sweet. And as I accidentally stepped on your employee, Murphy, a little while ago, he mentioned that he wanted a little bit of revenge for me accidentally stepping on him. Because of that, if someone were to click on the link below and do that, is there something that you would be willing to do as a, oops, I'm sorry, my bad for Murphy?
Yeah, we'll throw a 10% off if you just type in MURPHY10 on the checkout page. That'll give you your 10% off, and we'll get it applied.
So what's your turnaround time in fulfilling those orders?
So typically it ships day of, and then you'd be USPS 2 to 3 day unless you choose to expedite it, and then there's that option as well.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and spending with us, Cody, and thanks for Murphy as well, and we'll check you later.
Awesome.
If you like the content of this video, please consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, and click on that bell for notification. Not only will it help to inform you when we have new videos coming out, but it will also help to share these videos with the YouTube algorithm, helping us to share this information with more people. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.